Italy is one of the most beautiful countries in the world and one that we return to again and again. Its history, architecture, charming villages, beautiful beaches, the islands and bustling cities. Not even to mention the wine, the delicious food and friendly people. So here are the best places to visit in Italy. The first one up is the capital, Rome. I often refer to Rome as the City Museum. This city is a globally renowned cultural and historical powerhouse. Here you'll find the most important relic from the Roman Empire, the Colosseum. With a capacity of more than 50,000 spectators, it's the largest amphitheater in the Roman world. Rome also houses some of Michelangelo's greatest works in the Sistine Chapel. Other places worth visiting are the Trevi Fountain and the Spanish Steps, and make sure to pay a visit to the Vatican and the Borghese Museum. Have a walk through the historic heart of Rome, explore Piazza Navona and Campo de' Fiori, and end your day with a dinner in Trastevere. Number 2. Florence. The birthplace of the Renaissance has a lot to offer visitors, from magnificent artworks to impressive architecture, rich history, beautiful countryside and delicious food and wine. Florence is an extremely walkable city, which makes it perfect for a bike tour. Cruise across the cobblestone streets and see the small piazzas across the historical center of this mostly flat city, and hit all the main outdoor attractions in the morning or afternoon. Make sure to go and see Michelangelo's David, climb the Duomo, tour the Uffizi Gallery, stroll across Ponte Vecchio, which is noted for the number of shops that are built into the sides of the bridge, its decorated history and the plethora of shops that line the main walkway. To end your day, you don't want to miss the sunset over Florence from Piazzale Michelangelo. The third city on our list is Milan. When you think about Milan, the first thing that pops into your mind is the capital of fashion and shopping. The city is indeed famous for its fashion weeks and many designer boutiques. Of course, Milan is a lot more than this. The must-see monument is the Milan Cathedral, located on Piazza del Duomo, the historic center and best starting point for a stay in Milan. This architectural wonder is the third largest cathedral in the world, after St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome and the Cathedral of Seville. Just outside the cathedral you can visit the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. The place is very photogenic and luminous, with its magnificent arcades and superb dome made of glass and iron. Milan is also home to one of the world's most famous opera houses, the Teatro alla Scala, also known as La Scala. Dating from 1778, this theater is one of the world's leading opera and ballet theaters. The world's greatest opera singers have performed here, and it has been the setting for premieres of productions such as Madame Butterfly. Other places worth visiting in Milan are the Castello Sforzesco with its museums, Parco Sempione, a 95-acre public park designed in the style of an English garden, and the Renaissance Palazzo di Brera, built between 1651 and 1773. This was originally a Jesuit college, but since 1776 it has been the Academy of Fine Arts. Along with a library and observatory, it contains the Pinacoteca di Brera, one of Italy's finest art museums. Moving on to number 4, Venice. Venice is one of our favorite spots in Italy. Venice is romantic, historic, and gorgeous, and it is small and compact. As the capital of the Veneto region of northern Italy, Venice actually lies on 117 small islands that are connected by a series of bridges and separated by a network of canals. With a population of around 250,000, Venice is not one of the largest cities in Veneto, but it is one of the most visited tourist destinations in the country. Easily the most renowned and famous building in Venice is St. Mark's Basilica, a sublime piece of architecture that has stood the test of time since its creation in 1092 and remains one of the most important religious buildings in northern Italy. Whilst St. Mark's Basilica is the most famous building in Venice, St. Mark's Square is the most famous piazza. Located on the Grand Canal opposite the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, this square holds huge importance in Venice and is a truly spectacular place to visit. One of Venice's most famous architectural jewels, the Bridge of Sighs, is in the heart of the city near Piazza San Marco. Its name derives from the fact that it was part of the Doge's palace prison complex, and convicts had to cross it to go from the Doge's interrogation rooms to the new prison once they received their sentence. It was the last thing they saw before their incarceration. Murano. Murano and Torcello are the three most famous islands near Venice. Murano is famous for its beautiful glass, Murano for its lace, and Torcello for its cathedral. You can take a guided tour of one of the glass-blowing factories and shop for pretty glass products at Murano. Number 5. Tuscany. If you're looking for Italy without the crowds, Tuscany is the place to go. Italy's famous countryside is really all it's cracked up to be, offering travelers spectacular landscapes dotted with romantic secluded villas and castles that house wineries and superb restaurants. Tuscany is well known for truffles and truffle hunting. But if you want to hunt down the biggest variety of the much-prized fungi, head for San Miniato. You'll find this famous truffle town strategically placed on top of three small hills overlooking the lower Arno Valley between Pisa and Florence. The Alpi Apuane are a botanical wonderland in northern Tuscany where you can walk the clearly marked paths networking the area, as well as longer routes which let you hike through the Alpi Apuane valleys. Home to over 300 bird species, the Alpi are also known for their vast beech and chestnut forests and series of dramatic marble quarries. You also want to take to the coast of Tuscany and discover the island of Giglio. Less traveled than its famous neighbor Elba, which is home to one of the most beautiful beaches in Italy, Giglio is still relatively undeveloped. Known for pretty stone villages and views, it's also good for beaches, water sports and mountain hiking. Now, before you plan your next trip to Italy, make sure to check out the first link in the description where you can find the best deals for your flight, hotel and car rentals in Italy. Number 6. Verona. Verona is the famed city where Romeo and Juliet took place. This small city is gorgeous, similar to Venice but without the canals, the decay and the huge number of tourists. Verona has its own version of the Colosseum that is just as spectacular and possibly better preserved. This national landmark is unknown to many, but it stands as a triumph of Roman engineering and is a true wonder. Located in the middle of the historic town center, the arena is an immense Colosseum that contains literally all of its original seating and exterior arches. Sitting on the banks of the river Adige, the Castel Vecchio is a hugely important structure and has stood since its initial construction in 1354. Serving as a primary mode of defense for the city, this castle was the greatest achievement of engineering for the Scaliger dynasty. The front gatehouse of the castle is quite imposing and features a series of crenulated battlements and 2 guard towers. Inside there is a museum dedicated to the history of the castle that contains a myriad of artifacts and factual displays. The central feature of Verona's Centro Storico is the rectangular Piazza degli Erbi, one of the most picturesque squares in Italy. It stands on the site of the Roman Forum and is now a fruit and vegetable market. In the center of the square is the 16th century Berlina, a canopy on 4 columns, formerly used for elections. Number 7. Pisa. Pisa is a legendary city and one of the most famous in this region of Italy. Tourists often stop at Pisa en route to Florence, but it is a fantastic city to stay in and offers a great deal more sights than just its legendary Leaning Tower. This city has a fantastic array of beautiful historical buildings, and indeed it boasts over 20 historical churches. Furthermore, Pisa has some world-class museums and beautiful scenery along the banks of the River Arno. This historical city is worth much more than just a fleeting visit and serves as a great base for those wishing to explore this region of Tuscany. Pisa's main tourist attractions are the Leaning Tower, the Cathedral, the Baptistery and Campo Santo. They are located closely together in the Field of Miracles, and comprise a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 8. The Amalfi Coast. The Amalfi Coast is one of the most iconic destinations in the whole of Italy. And for good reason. This stretch of coastline is simply stunning. The Amalfi Coast consists of 13 charming towns that cling to the dramatic cliffside. It has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1977 and attracts thousands of tourists each year. If you want to visit the Amalfi Coast, you will be in for a treat. This region has some picture-perfect towns full of multi-colored houses such as Positano, Priano and Amalfi itself. Furthermore, there are some absolutely fantastic beaches, coastal walks and mountainside villas. Aside from the coastal towns and mountain, the Amalfi Coast has a selection of interesting islands such as Capri and Cyrenus that provide ample opportunity for exploration. Number 9. Sicily. Sicily is the largest island in the Mediterranean. It is home to Mount Etna, the second most active volcano in the world. It is also home to ancient Greek and Roman ruins, gorgeous beaches, picturesque towns and hundreds of castles. One of the top things to do in Sicily is to visit the capital Palermo. It is a very rich city in terms of historical buildings and monuments and the ideal place to visit if you like churches and palaces. In Palermo you shouldn't miss the Norman Palace, the Palermo Cathedral, the Massimo Theatre and the Bolaro Market. Not far from Palermo there is one of the most visited places in Sicily called Monreale Cathedral with its thousands of square meters of golden mosaics. To give you an idea, 2,200 kilograms of pure gold was used to make them. The town of Cefalù is also worth a stop to admire the panorama from the old port and pier and stroll through its narrow streets full of shops and restaurants. You should also visit the Cefalù Norman Cathedral, the most important building of the city. Finally, you should climb to the top of La Rocca di Cefalù, the cliff that overlooks the town and offers spectacular views. Number 10. Siena. Technically, Siena is a hill town in Tuscany, but it's such a great place to visit that it deserves its own mention. This city is well known for its gorgeous architecture and beautiful main square, the Piazza del Campo. Furthermore, Siena has a historic city center and is also known for its legendary Palio horse race that takes place twice a year and draws hundreds of spectators. In Siena there is an abundance of beautiful architecture such as the Palazzo Pubblico and the Torre del Mangia. Furthermore, the city has a range of fantastic museums and galleries such as the Siena Civic Museum and the National Gallery. The historic center of Siena is one of the best preserved in the region and is a true joy to explore.